We left before sunrise, the car packed so tight I could barely move my legs. Mom kept saying, "It's just one night, Dawn, don't complain." But I wasn't complaining. Christmas Eve at Grandma Lorraine's was the one thing I actually looked forward to. Jay sat on my left, Milo on my right. Both 15 like me, both loud as hell. "Bro, move your elbow." "No, you move your elbow." "Milo, you smell like hot dog water." Mom told them to shut up every 10 minutes. Dad cranked the heater like we were driving through Antarctica. My little sister drooled on her stuffed bunny. Honestly, felt good. Normal. Cozy. Snow started falling the farther we got from the city. Soft flakes drifting across the headlights like slow-motion glitter. The mountains rose around us, dark and tall. The kind of quiet that makes you whisper without knowing why. Grandma's town wasn't big. A single main street, old houses, smoke curling from chimneys, Christmas decorations everywhere, glowing warm in the cold morning air. I pressed my forehead against the cold window. My weird eyes, white pupils with a little black spot, reflected faintly in the glass. People always stared at them, called me off or slow or said I looked broken. Whatever, my friends didn't care. "Yo, Don," Jay said, pointing out the window. "Why do towns like this always look like they're hiding something?" "Bro, shut up," Milo said. "It's Christmas, not a horror movie." Dad pulled into the snowy driveway of Grandma's house. The porch lights were already on even though it was morning, and red ribbons wrapped around the railings like candy canes. Grandma burst out the front door wearing a giant red sweater that could fit 3 people. "My babies," she yelled. She grabbed me first, squeezing me so hard my ribs cracked like bubble wrap. Then she hugged Jay and Milo, even though she barely knew them. "Come inside, you must be freezing." The house was warm, fireplace going, cookies on the table, Christmas music playing softly. It smelled like cinnamon and old wooden floors. For the first time in months, I felt safe. We tossed our bags in the guest room. Milo tried to pet Grandma's ancient cat and got scratched instantly. Jay stole 2 cookies when Grandma wasn't looking. Dad opened wine. Mom started humming while fixing decorations that didn't need fixing. I stepped toward the window, just looking outside, just breathing, and then I saw it. A tall man across the street, just standing there, facing Grandma's house, not moving. I thought he would look away when I noticed him, but he didn't. Even from here, I could tell he was staring directly at me, his head tilted. Slow, too slow. Jay walked up behind me. "Yo, what you looking at?" When I blinked, the man was gone. I swallowed hard. "Nothing," I said, but that wasn't true, because as the snow kept falling, I felt something in my stomach twist, like we didn't just arrive somewhere peaceful, like we had already been noticed. Dinner felt like a Hallmark commercial, ham, mashed potatoes, lights glowing, everyone laughing. If I hadn't seen that man outside, I would have thought nothing weird existed in this town at all. But every time I glanced out the window, the street looked too empty. Grandma clapped her hands suddenly. "All right, before we open gifts tonight, I need to remind you kids of the town's rule." "The what?" Milo asked with a mouth full of food. Grandma's smile dropped. Not slowly but instantly, like someone flipped a switch. She glanced at my parents, then back at us. "No matter what happens tonight," she said, voice low, "no matter what you hear or see, you do not pick up any presents left outside." Jay laughed. "Like random gifts?" "Yes," Grandma said, not laughing at all. "No matter how pretty the wrapping is, no matter who you think it's from, you leave it alone." "Why?" I asked. She hesitated, then forced a smile. "We just like to follow old traditions here." That wasn't an answer. Dad cleared his throat. "It's nothing, boys. Old local superstition." But Grandma didn't look like she was joking. Her hands were shaking a little. When we finished eating, I went to the living room window again. Snowflakes drifted. Lights twinkled on porches. It was peaceful, almost too peaceful. Then I froze. Present was sitting on the sidewalk, perfectly wrapped. Red bow, shiny green paper that reflected the Christmas lights. Jay spoke behind me. Yo, was that there earlier? I don't think so. We stared at it. Then something moved in the street. A tall figure walked between the snow-covered cars. Santa suit, but wrong. Too tall, too thin. Its coat was dirty and torn, dragging on the ground like it was soaked in something. His back was turned toward us. A sack hung over its shoulder, but it wasn't shaped like toys. It twitched. Something inside shifted. The figure stopped, did not turn around, just slowly tilted its head, listening. Jay whispered, "Bro, is that normal?" "No," I said. The Santa figure walked forward, silent footsteps in deep snow, and stopped right next to the present, still not turning toward us, still not showing its face. Then it reached into its sack. My stomach tightened. Jay stepped back, but the Santa didn't pull out anything. Instead, the present moved, just a tiny inch, like something inside had pushed outward. Grandma's voice snapped behind us. "Kids, step away from the window. Now." Her voice wasn't just serious. It was terrified. Jay swallowed. "But, now." We backed away. Grandma slammed the curtains shut with shaking hands. No one talked for a long moment. Then she whispered, "It's starting earlier this year." Grandma made us move to the dining room like the living room window was radioactive. She kept checking the curtains, breathing fast, mumbling under her breath like she was praying. Mom tried acting calm, but her voice kept cracking. Dad quietly locked every door in the house. Jay whispered to me, "Bro, what is going on in this town?" "I don't know," I said, but I felt it. The air had changed, like the house itself was holding its breath. Grandma finally spoke. "It's Christmas Eve. They come out early when the snowfall is heavy." "They?" Milo asked. Grandma ignored the question, walking to the fireplace to poke the logs. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Dad came back from the hallway. "Okay, the doors are locked, curtains drawn." Grandma nodded. "Good. We should be safe." "Should be. Not are." Jay leaned close to me. "Don, that Santa thing, did you see its legs? They were like wrong." He didn't need to tell me. I saw it. The legs bent unnaturally, like it had too many joints, or not enough. Milo whispered, "Why are we even here? We could have stayed home with normal Christmas." Before I could answer, there was a knock at the front door. Everyone froze. Not a loud knock, not aggressive, just soft, polite. 3 taps. Grandma's face drained of color. Dad whispered, "No one answer it." Jay mouthed, "Who knocks like that?" I felt this pressure in my chest, like something was pushing me toward the door even though I didn't move. Then a voice came through the wood. Not a human voice. Too deep, too smooth, like someone imitating a person. A gift for the boy with the white eyes. Jay grabbed my arm. "Bro, and oh, nope, and oh." The door creaked like something brushed against it. Milo whispered, "Don, why does it want you?" "I don't know, man." Another knock. Still soft, still gentle. Grandma's voice cracked. "Don't look outside. Don't open the door. Don't speak to it." The voice outside chuckled. A low, rumbling sound that made the lights flicker. "Open your present." Suddenly, something slid under the door. A small red box, perfectly wrapped. Snow melting off it. My stomach dropped. Jay backed up so fast he hit the chair. "Nope, nope, bro, no. That's your name on it." He was right. My name was written on the tag, in shaky, uneven handwriting. Grandma grabbed the box with both hands, opened the fireplace grate, and threw it into the fire. It hit the flames, but it didn't burn. It didn't even melt. Instead, it began to shake. The knocking stopped. The voice outside whispered one last thing. "We'll try again later." Then footsteps, slow, crunching through the snow. Walking away, the house stayed silent. No one breathed. Finally, Milo whispered, "What the hell is happening?" Grandma looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time. And that's when she said something that made my whole body go cold. "Don, you should have never come back to this town." I stared at Grandma like she'd just said my name was cursed. "See, come back," I asked. "What do you mean come back? I haven't been here since I was like 2. I don't even remember anything." "That's exactly why this is bad," she said, sinking into a chair like her knees were giving out. "You don't remember," Jay whispered. "Bro, what does that even mean?" Milo leaned close. "You were here before? Why didn't you ever say anything?" I shrugged helplessly. "I don't remember. I seriously don't." Grandma held up a hand. "Let me explain. Before they realize you're here." Dad rubbed his face. "Mom, the boys don't need one of your ghost stories right now." "This isn't a story," she snapped. The house went dead silent. Even the fire crackled softer. Grandma looked at us, her eyes shiny with fear that didn't match her usual tough attitude. "You kids keep calling it a Santa," she said. "That thing outside, that's not Santa. And it's not alone." Jay swallowed. "So what are they?" Grandma turned to the window, voice low and tight. "We call them the givers." Milo frowned. "Like, they give presents?" I don't know what felt worse, Grandma's house being freezing cold, or the way she kept staring at the windows like something was inches from the glass. Everyone else was asleep. My parents knocked out upstairs, my 2 friends snoring on the living room floor. But Grandma? She sat in her rocking chair in complete darkness, hands shaking around a cup of cold tea. I sat beside her and whispered, "Grandma, when you said, 'They're active tonight,' who's they?" She swallowed hard. "You've been here before, Don, when you were 4, too young to remember. We left because of them." "Who?" I whispered. Her eyes glistened like she didn't even want to say it out loud. "They're corrupted holiday things. Santa, elves, carolers, reindeer, except none of them look right. Like someone dragged them out of the dark and told them to wear Christmas skins." I felt my stomach twist. "There's more than one Santa?" I asked. She nodded slowly. "Dozens. All wrong. Some tall, some short. Some with coats torn open like something crawled out. Their beards," she paused. "Their beards drag across the ground like wet ropes." I didn't even know I was backing away until the chair legs scraped. "And the elves?" I forced out. "Short things," she whispered. "Faces like cracked dolls. Smiles painted on too wide. Carolers whose mouths split open when they sing. Reindeer with hollow eye sockets that drip." I felt my skin go cold. "Why are they after me?" I asked. "Why now?" She turned to me, really turned, and for the first time I saw pure fear in her eyes. "Because hurting you will break me," she said. "And that's what they want. They don't care about prophecy or destiny. They want to watch me lose the last thing I love." A chill shot down my spine. Before I could say anything, Grandma pointed at the window with a trembling hand. I turned. My breath left my body. Out in the snow, just barely visible through the frost, stood the silhouette of a Santa. Back turned toward us, massive shoulders rising and falling like it was breathing deep. Not moving, not shifting, just standing there, listening. Grandma grabbed my wrist with a strength I didn't know she had. "They know you're here, Don." My heart hammered. And then more shapes stepped into the snow behind the first one. Small ones, tall ones, antlered ones. A whole corrupted Christmas crowd forming silently in the storm. All with their backs turned. All waiting. And I swear the tallest Santa's head twitched, like it was about to turn around. Grandma didn't breathe. I didn't breathe. Even the house seemed to hold its breath as those things stood in the snow with their backs toward us. My friends were still asleep, my parents snoring upstairs. If they woke up and looked outside, they'd scream. They'd make noise. Noise would ruin everything. Grandma squeezed my wrist. "Don, don't move. Don't speak. Don't even blink too long." "What do they want?" I whispered. Her lips barely parted. "They want a reaction. If you react, they turn around." A cold shiver crawled down my spine. The tallest Santa shifted in the snow. Just a twitch. like its bones cracked under the weight of its own skin. Its sack, slung over its shoulder, sagged unnaturally. Something inside it moved like a trapped animal. My throat tightened. "Grandma, how long have they been doing this to the town?" I whispered. She exhaled shakily. "Since before your mother was born. They show up every winter. They stalk certain houses. They pick someone." Her voice cracked. "They picked you." My blood went cold. "Why me? Why when I was little?" "They smelled something on you," she said. "Fear, innocence, curiosity. I don't know, but they followed you home that year. I kept you hidden. Then we moved away." A gust of wind slammed snow against the window, and all the figures outside shifted slightly, like they were reacting to the noise. Grandma clamped her hand over my mouth. We waited. Seconds felt like hours. One of the elves, a tiny hunched thing with a pointed hat dragging in the snow, lifted its head slowly. I didn't see a face. I saw a mask, a cracked porcelain mask with a painted grin that stretched too wide. The jaw quivered like something underneath was trying to chew its way out. Grandma swallowed. "Don't let them see your eyes. They like to take eyes." A massive shape stepped forward from the back of the group, this one with antlers made of twisted red metal, like candy canes sharpened into blades. His breath came out in slow, rattling clouds. "Grandma," I choked out. "We need to tell Mom and Dad. We need to wake them up." She shook her head violently. "If they move, if they scream, these things will come through the walls." I felt sick, helpless, a 15-year-old kid staring at literal Christmas monsters in the snow. And then, a soft thud upstairs, a door creaking open, my dad's footsteps. He was awake. Grandma's eyes widened with horror. No, please stay upstairs." But it was too late. I heard him coming down the hallway, half asleep, muttering. "Who's up? Why are the lights still on?" The tallest Santa straightened slightly. Something inside its sack pressed against the fabric. A hand, a human hand, trying to get out. Dad's footsteps grew louder. Grandma grabbed my arm. "Don't let him come down here. If he sees them, if he yells, they'll turn around." I didn't think. I just ran for the stairs. Too late. Dad stepped into the living room doorway, rubbing his eyes. "Don," he mumbled, "what are you doing awake at?" His eyes drifted toward the windows. He froze, his breath hitched, and he whispered one word. "What the hell?" The tallest Santa began to turn. Slowly, bone by bone, like a nightmare unfolding. Grandma screamed, "Don't look at them." Dad's whisper shouldn't have been loud enough. It shouldn't have mattered. But the moment those words left his mouth, the tallest Santa stopped, like the whole world froze around him. Then his head turned. Not the body, just the head. It rotated in a slow, cracking circle until the face, if you could call it that, was angled toward us. The beard wasn't hair. It was long strips of something wet, something that dripped in the snow. Dad staggered back. "Jesus, what is that?" Grandma grabbed him and slapped a hand over his mouth. "Don't scream. If you scream, we're dead." But it was already too late. Every figure in the snow began turning, twisting unnaturally, as if pulled by strings. The elves snapped their heads backward like birds breaking their own necks. The reindeer's hollow sockets dripped thicker, blacker. The carolers opened their mouths too wide, like the beginning of a silent scream. And all of them faced the house now. Me. Grandma dragged me backward toward the hallway, voice trembling. "Don, don't blink. Don't move. Don't give them something to latch onto." But I couldn't move even if I wanted to, because the tallest Santa stepped forward. 1 foot into the fresh snow. THUMP. Then another. THUMP. Each step sent a tremor through the frozen ground. Its sack writhed violently, like the thing inside now knew it was close to escaping, or close to being used. Dad whispered, "We have to get the kids. Wake your friends." "No," Grandma hissed. "If they panic, if they make noise, these things will tear the house apart to get in." I peeked through the window. Big mistake. The Santa's face was clearer now. The eyes were wrong. Not glowing, not empty. They were human, but not alive. Like someone had stolen real eyes and stuffed them into a mask. And then, smiled. Not a normal smile. The mouth split open horizontally across the entire lower half of its face, tearing the flesh like wrapping paper. Inside were rows of small, jagged teeth, like ornament hooks filed into points. It lifted the present from its sack. A small red box, wrapped perfectly, ribbons curled. But the ribbon was breathing, pulsing, moving like a vein. Grandma's voice cracked. "If he hands it to you, don't take it." "Why?" "Because that's how they choose. That's how they mark you." "And what happens if you do take it?" She hesitated. Dad looked between us, terrified. "What happens?" Grandma whispered. "You become part of their Christmas." The Santa raised the present toward the window. My breath fogged the glass. The present twitched in its hand. My friends were still asleep. My parents were terrified. Grandma was shaking. And me? I stood there like a target while a corrupted Santa raised a living present to offer me. Then, behind us, a floorboard creaked. Footsteps. My friend Jason rubbed his eyes, yawning. "Dude, why are you guys all?" He looked at the window and screamed. That one sound shattered everything. Outside, every creature snapped into motion at once. The tallest Santa dropped the present, and they all charged the house. Jason's scream didn't just echo. It ripped something open. The moment that sound left his throat, the entire world outside exploded into motion. The tallest Santa lurched forward, sprinting in a way nothing with a human shape should sprint. Jerky, too fast, arms hanging like broken branches as he barreled through the snow. The elves skittered toward the house on all fours, spines cracking, porcelain masks bouncing with every step. The carolers opened their mouths and released a low, humming choir that vibrated the window panes until they almost shattered. And the reindeer, God, they charged with their ribs showing through their fur, breath steaming from empty eye sockets like furnaces. Grandma shoved me, Dad, and Jason toward the hallway. Downstairs, basement, now. My legs moved before my brain could catch up. Dad grabbed Jason by the arm and dragged him. I grabbed the other. The kid was shaking so hard his knees almost buckled. Behind us, Mom woke up screaming as the thunder of footsteps and cracking ice drew closer. "What's happening?" "Run," Dad yelled. Boom. Something slammed into the side of the house so hard the walls bowed inward. Plaster rained from the ceiling. My heart felt like it was punching my ribs from the inside. We sprinted toward the basement door, but Grandma wasn't behind us. She stayed in the living room. "Grandma, come on." But she stood in front of the window, fists clenched, jaw set. "I've run from them once," she whispered, voice trembling but strong. "I won't make that mistake again." The tallest Santa's shadow stretched across the snow, inches from the window. Dad grabbed her wrist. "You're coming." Crack. The front window shattered inward as a red sleeve, too long, too thin, punched through the glass and grabbed at the air. The Santa was inside. Its beard, those dripping strips, dragged over the sill and hit the wooden floor with wet slaps. Dad yanked Grandma away at the last second. "Gio!" he shouted. We tumbled down the basement stairs while something massive hit the walls and ceiling above us, scratching, tearing, clawing. Jason tripped near the bottom step and I grabbed him by the hoodie, hauling him up. Mom slammed the basement door shut and Dad threw the lock. We all backed into the darkness, lit only by one dim hanging bulb. Upstairs, something started walking, slowly, deliberately, thump, thump, thump. The Santa was inside the house completely now, and he wasn't alone. We heard the smaller footsteps of the elves pattering on the hardwood, the scraping drag of antlers against the ceiling beams, the chorus of the carolers humming like they were warming up for a performance. Jason whispered, voice cracking, "They're hunting us." Grandma put a shaking hand on my shoulder. "No, they're hunting you." I swallowed hard. But you said they wanted to kill me because it would hurt you. It will, she said softly. And that's why they won't leave until they find you. Above us, something sniffed the air, a wet, dragging inhale that echoed through the house. Then, the basement doorknob began to turn. Slow, testing, curious. Jason whimpered. Dad put a hand over his mouth. Mom grabbed the nearest object, a metal pipe, and held it like a bat. I stood there frozen, every muscle in my body locked. The doorknob turned again, then again, harder, faster. Something tapped on the door 3 times. Tap, tap, tap. Then a deep voice, warped, layered, almost like multiple Santas speaking at once, murmured, "Don, I have a present for you." The basement door rattled so hard I thought the wood would split. That warped voice, deep and layered, spoke again, almost sing-song. "Don, open up. You've been such a good boy." My skin crawled. Grandma grabbed my wrist and squeezed until it hurt. "Don, don't answer. Don't even breathe loud." But the doorknob froze mid-twist. Then silence. Not quiet. Silence. The kind that feels wrong, like the world is holding its breath. Dad mouthed, "Did it leave?" I shook my head. Something was listening. Then, boom, a shotgun blast ripped through the night above us, shaking the entire house. Mom jumped. Jason screamed into his hands. A man shouted from outside, "Get away from that house. Back, you monsters." I recognized the voice. Old Man Harris, one of the neighbors. I'd seen him earlier in the day shoveling snow with a cigarette in his mouth. Another blast echoed. Grandma gasped, "Oh my God. They're trying to hold them off." More voices joined him, shouts, screams, the slamming of car doors. Someone revved an engine. Someone else yelled to board the windows. It wasn't just Harris. It was the whole damn street. We heard heavy boots running across the porch. Glass breaking. The sound of something big stumbling outside. Dad's eyes widened. "They're fighting them? The whole town?" Grandma nodded shakily. "They've been dealing with these things for decades. They're prepared." Thud, thud, thud. Something slammed against the wall outside the basement. Dust rained from the rafters. Mom whispered, "Are they winning?" Grandma's expression said everything. "Not really." A woman screamed from outside, followed by wet snarling and that awful humming choir. Another shotgun blast. Someone yelling, "Pull her away! Pull her away!" The corrupted carolers were out there now. Jason shook violently. We gotta help them." "No," Grandma grabbed him. "You'll just get more people killed. They're buying time so we can run." I swallowed hard. "Run where?" Before she could answer, the Santa's voice boomed again. But this time from outside, further away. "Don, come out, or more will die." The whole basement shook as something massive dragged itself across the roof, scraping, scratching, breathing. Then, crunch. A window shattered upstairs, followed by a man screaming in agony. Dad clenched his fists. "We can't just let the townspeople die for us." Grandma grabbed his sleeve. "Yes, you can, because they knew this night would come. Everyone here grew up with the rule." "What rule?" I asked. She turned toward me, eyes full of dread. "Don, this town doesn't just avoid picking up presents." "Then what?" She whispered. "When the corrupted clauses come, the town protects the chosen target, no matter the cost." My stomach dropped. "They're all out there," she continued, voice cracking, "fighting for you, because if the creatures get you, Don, it'll break the final piece of this town's spirit." Boom, boom, boom. Something slammed into the house again. Jason whimpered, "They're gonna get inside." Then, bang, bang, bang. The basement door shook violently, but not like the creatures before. This was human pounding. A voice shouted, "Open up. It's Harris. We're getting you all out now." Grandma stumbled to her feet. Dad reached for the lock. Mom whispered, "Please, please be human." Harris's voice choked out, desperate. "Don't ask questions. Just move. They're breaking through the houses. I exhaled shakily. Dad unlocked the door. It swung open. Old Man Harris stood there, bleeding from a deep gash on his forehead, shotgun smoking in his hands. Behind him, a group of townspeople were fighting monsters in the snow with axes, bats, pipes, anything they had. Harris looked at me with wild eyes. "Kid," he panted, "you're coming with us, right now. The whole town's holding the line for you." Behind him, a twisted Santa dragged its claws across the street, headed our way. Harris grabbed my arm. "Move!" The basement door rattled so hard I thought the wood would split. That warped voice, deep and layered, spoke again, almost sing-song. "Don, open up. You've been such a good boy." My skin crawled. Grandma grabbed my wrist and squeezed until it hurt. "Don, don't answer. Don't even breathe loud." But the doorknob froze mid-twist. Then silence. Not quiet. Silence. The kind that feels wrong, like the world is holding its breath. Dad mouthed, "Did it leave?" I shook my head. Something was listening. Then, boom! A shotgun blast ripped through the night above us, shaking the entire house. Mom jumped. Jason screamed into his hands. A man shouted from outside, "Get away from that house! Back, you monsters!" I recognized the voice. Old Man Harris, one of the neighbors. I'd seen him earlier in the day shoveling snow with a cigarette in his mouth. Another blast echoed. Grandma gasped, "Oh my God! They're trying to hold them off." More voices joined him, shouts, screams, the slamming of car doors. Someone revved an engine. Someone else yelled to board the windows. It wasn't just Harris. It was the whole damn street. We heard heavy boots running across the porch. Glass breaking. The sound of something big stumbling outside. Dad's eyes widened. "They're fighting them? The whole town?" Grandma nodded shakily. "They've been dealing with these things for decades. They're prepared." Thud, thud, thud. Something slammed against the wall outside the basement. Dust rained from the rafters. Mom whispered, "Are they winning?" Grandma's expression said everything. "Not really." A woman screamed from outside, followed by wet snarling and that awful humming choir. Another shotgun blast. Someone yelling, "Pull her away! Pull her away!" The corrupted carolers were out there now. Jason shook violently. We gotta help them." "No," Grandma grabbed him. "You'll just get more people killed. They're buying time so we can run." I swallowed hard. "Run where?" Before she could answer, the Santa's voice boomed again. But this time from outside, further away. "Don, come out, or more will die." The whole basement shook as something massive dragged itself across the roof, scraping, scratching, breathing, then crunch. A window shattered upstairs, followed by a man screaming in agony. Dad clenched his fists. "We can't just let the townspeople die for us." Grandma grabbed his sleeve. "Yes, you can, because they knew this night would come. Everyone here grew up with the rule." "What rule?" I asked. She turned toward me, eyes full of dread. "Don, this town doesn't just avoid picking up presents." "Then what?" She whispered. "When the corrupted clauses come, the town protects the chosen target, no matter the cost." My stomach dropped. "They're all out there," she continued, voice cracking, "fighting for you, because if the creatures get you, Don, it'll break the final piece of this town's spirit." Boom, boom, boom. Something slammed into the house again. Jason whimpered, "They're gonna get inside." Then, bang, bang, bang. The basement door shook violently, but not like the creatures before. This was human pounding. A voice shouted, "Open up. It's Harris. We're getting you all out now." Grandma stumbled to her feet. Dad reached for the lock. Mom whispered, "Please, please be human." Harris's voice choked out, desperate. "Don't ask questions. Just move. They're breaking through the houses." I exhaled shakily. Dad unlocked the door. It swung open. Old Man Harris stood there, bleeding from a deep gash on his forehead, shotgun smoking in his hands. Behind him, a group of townspeople were fighting monsters in the snow with axes, bats, pipes, anything they had. Harris looked at me with wild eyes. "Kid," he panted, "you're coming with us, right now. The whole town's holding the line for you." Behind him, a twisted Santa dragged its claws across the street, headed our way. Harris grabbed my arm. "Move!" Harris yanked me up the basement stairs so fast I almost fell. The cold air hit me first, sharp, metallic, carrying the smell of blood. Then I saw the street, and I swear, it looked like a Christmas massacre. Bodies, some human, some not, lay crumpled in the snow. Red streaks stained the drifts like someone dragged a paintbrush dipped in organs across the ground. A townsman swung an axe into the jaw of a corrupted caroler. The mask cracked, then split, and what poured out wasn't bone. It was meat, pulsing and writhing like it was still alive. The caroler screamed, a sound like a violin string snapped in half, before collapsing sideways. Its mouth kept moving even after its head hit the snow. Another man was locked in a struggle with an elf creature. Its porcelain mask shattered, revealing a face underneath that looked like a melted child's face, dripping, sloughing away in chunks. The man drove a crowbar into its skull. The creature's eye rolled down his arm like a wet marble. Jason gagged beside me. I almost did too. Harris shoved me forward. "Don't look, run." But I couldn't not look. A reindeer, taller than it should be, chest split open exposing rib spikes, charged at a woman wielding a fireplace poker. She stabbed it in the throat, but the thing's jaw unhinged, almost vertical, and clamped onto her shoulder. Blood geysered into the snow. She screamed as it tore away flesh like pulling tinsel off a tree. A man ran toward her, only to be tackled by a Santa. Not the tall one from before, a smaller one, but faster, pinned him and shoved something down his throat. A glowing ribbon. The man choked, gagging as the ribbon wriggled deeper, disappearing. His body convulsed violently, spasming, until he went limp, eyes rolled back white. My stomach twisted so hard I thought I'd puke. "Don, keep moving," Dad yelled, yanking me from behind. Grandma limped beside us, clutching her ribs, sobbing as she watched her neighbors die for us. A corrupted elf jumped onto a man's back and started clawing at his spine like digging for a prize. Blood sprayed in arcs. The man tried to scream but only managed a wet gargle. The elf hissed, ripping free a chunk of vertebrae like it was pulling a Christmas ornament off a branch. I froze. This wasn't a fight. This was a slaughter. Harris fired his shotgun past my head. The blast tore half an elf's torso off, its legs collapsing separately, twitching in the snow. "Move, kid," Harris shouted. "They want you most. They smell you." Behind us, thump, thump, thump. The tall Santa, the one from the house, approached. Slow, deliberate, dragging that sack along the ground. Something inside it pressed against the fabric, leaving a bloody handprint. The Santa crouched, tilting its head, watching us with those wrong, stolen human eyes. Grandma screamed, "Don't let it touch him." A teenager with a bat rushed forward, swinging, but the Santa grabbed him by the throat and lifted him effortlessly. The kid scratched at its arm, kicking wildly. The Santa's mouth tore wider, 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 until it split ear to ear. Then it bit into the kid's skull. I won't sugarcoat it. The sound was like someone crunching ice and celery at the same time. Blood sprayed in a circle. The kid's body spasmed once and went limp, dangling like a broken ornament. Jason vomited onto his shoes. Harris screamed, "Arunan!" We sprinted across the street, dodging fallen bodies, slipping in pools of blood. The townspeople were forming a wall, dying, but holding the monsters off. "For him!" someone yelled. "Protect the boy. I didn't deserve this. Any of it." Grandma grabbed my hand, crying, "Don, please, please don't die. Not you." The creatures roared behind us. The tall Santa dropped the kid's corpse and began walking toward me again, focused, locked in. unstoppable. And then, an explosion of snow erupted beside us, as something massive leapt from the rooftops and landed between us and the monsters. Not human, not Santa, something the townspeople clearly feared too. Grandma's face drained of life. "Oh God," she whispered. "The reindeer king is here." The thing lifted its head, antlers jagged like snapped bones, lungs wheezing, steam pouring from its hollow eye sockets. It stared directly at me. Then it charged. The reindeer king didn't run like an animal. It glided, body jerking forward in unnatural, stuttering bursts, like someone skipping frames in real life. Each step slammed the ground so hard chunks of frozen earth shot upward like shrapnel. Thump, thump, thump. Its chest cavity opened and closed as it breathed, ribs flexing like insect legs. Harris fired the shotgun straight into its face. The blast ripped away part of its jaw. But the thing didn't even react. It just kept coming. "Run!" Harris yelled, pumping the gun again. "Get the boy out of here." Dad grabbed my hoodie and yanked me backward. The reindeer king lowered its head and charged, past Harris first. Its antlers tore him open mid-scream, lifting him off the ground, impaling him through the stomach and ribcage. I watched, frozen, as Harris's body jolted like he'd been electrocuted, blood spraying from his mouth, arms shaking as he tried to pull himself off the bone spikes. The creature flicked its head, and Harris's torso split open, spraying the snow red. His body crumpled in half. Jason screamed so loud his voice cracked. Mom shoved me behind her. "Don't look, Don. Don't look." But I couldn't stop looking. The creature sniffed the air, snorting like a bull, breath cold enough to crystallize. Then it turned its hollow, steaming eye sockets toward me. It smelled me. Grandma stumbled forward, sobbing. "It's him you smell. Leave the rest. Damn you. You've taken enough from this family." But the reindeer king didn't understand words. Or maybe it did, and just didn't care. Its chest expanded unnaturally wide, ribs cracking outward, and it let out a screech that sounded like a dying horse mixed with a man screaming underwater. The ground literally shook. Behind it, the corrupted Santa and elves were pushing through the townspeople, bodies piling up as men and women fell. Some crushed, some ripped apart. "They're losing," Jason cried. "We're not gonna make it." Dad grabbed me by the arms. His voice cracked, terrified. "Son, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do." I didn't either. The reindeer king charged again. This time, it wasn't aiming at Harris or the townspeople. It aimed straight at me. Grandma screamed my name. Dad tried to shove me out of the way, but the creature's antlers skimmed his shoulder, instantly shredding flesh. His arm split open like wrapping paper. He fell back, screaming in agony. "Dad!" Mom dragged him away, her hands already soaked in his blood. Jason stood frozen, shaking violently, staring at my dad's mangled arm. The reindeer king skidded in the snow, turning its monstrous head toward me again. Crouched, getting ready to ram me until I was nothing but paste. My legs refused to move. I was dead. I knew it. Then, a sound erupted behind us. Not a creature. Not a human. A bell. A deep, echoing church bell that rang through the entire valley. Bong, bong, bong. The reindeer king froze mid-step. Every corrupted Santa jerked like puppets being yanked. The elves screeched. The carolers stopped humming and stiffened. The creatures retreated a step, like the sound physically hurt them. The townspeople, wounded and half dead, gasped in shock. Grandma's eyes widened. "Oh my God. They actually did it. They rang the bell of midnight. They broke the rule." "What rule?" I wheezed. She looked at me with pure fear. "That bell only rings for one reason." The bell tolled again. The ground cracked. The sky darkened. And Grandma whispered, "It calls the oldest of them, the one even the corrupted clauses fear." My stomach dropped. Jason collapsed to his knees. Dad groaned, bleeding out. Mom held him, shaking. The bell tolled again. Bong. The wind stopped moving. The snow froze midair. Even the monsters backed away from the forest line, where shadows shifted between the trees. A new figure stepped out, tall, thin, wrapped in rotting red cloth, a broken crown of rusted tinsel on its head, a beard made of frost and cobwebs. His face was not human, or Santa, or anything in between. Its eyes were glowing blue embers, and when it inhaled, the air turned to ice crystals. Grandma dropped to her knees, whispering, "Sweet God." They woke the first claws. The church bell starts ringing on its own. Not a normal ring. It's panicked, like the metal is screaming. Grandma shoves me toward the center of town where the last fires are dying and the snow looks pink from all the blood. People are shouting, shooting, swinging axes, anything they can use. "Don, stay close," she yells, but her voice cracks halfway through. She's terrified, more terrified than I've ever seen her. The ground shakes. At first, I think it's thunder. Then I hear the laughter. Deep, slow, off-key, like Santa's laugh recorded, slowed down, and played backward until it sounds like a demon choking. The corrupted Santas crawl out from between the old buildings. 3 of them, but each one looks worse than the last. Clothes ripped, hats twisted into horns. Their fur trim is made of hair, human hair. Their beards drip something thick and black. And behind them, the elves, thin, snapping bones as they move. Their faces too wide, too long, smiles cracked from ear to ear. They're carrying sacks, and those sacks, they're moving. Someone next to me, a fisherman, loads a shotgun and fires point blank at the nearest Santa. The blast rips half its jaw off, and the Santa just keeps walking, jaw dangling, tongue hanging like a wet scarf. Grandma pulls me behind a broken sleigh display just as the elves burst open their sacks. Bodies tumble out. Not dead, not alive, twitching, wrapped in red ribbons like broken dolls. Eyes glassy, teeth chattering like they're freezing to death. Except it's not cold. One of the ribbon-wrapped townspeople stands up, head twitching side to side way too fast. He screams, but no sound comes out, just a burst of fog. Then he runs at us. The fisherman blasts him too late. The ribbon thing slams into him, teeth digging into his throat, ripping it open like wet paper. Blood sprays across the snow. Steam rises. Someone behind me gags. Someone else starts praying. Grandma grabs my face with shaking hands. "Don, listen to me. If they get you, I won't survive it. You're the last thing I care about in this world. Do you understand?" I nod, numb. My hands won't stop shaking. One of the Santas spots us. His head tilts, cracks, tilts more, cracks again. Then it charges. The townspeople form a line. Pitchforks, axes, knives, guns, whatever they had. They scream, pushing back, slashing and hacking as the corrupted Santa plows through them like they're nothing. Blood hits the snow in sheets. Someone grabs my wrist. Mr. Hartman, the gas station owner. "Come on, kid. We're not letting those Christmas demons have you." He pulls me toward the church as more corrupted elves leap from the rooftops, claws slicing people in half like wrapping paper. Snowflakes fall gently while intestines spill into the street. Christmas lights flicker violently, strobing red and green over the carnage. And the bells, they don't stop. They keep ringing, faster and faster, like they're warning us, "Run, run, run." Grandma screams my name, and then the biggest Santa of them all steps out of the fog. The one they call the gift bringer. His bag is big enough to fit a person, and it's wide open. He's huge, almost twice the size of the corrupted Santas before him. His coat drags behind him like a velvet funeral shroud, soaked black at the hem from all the blood. His beard is braided with teeth, human teeth. His boots sink into the snow with a wet crunch that makes my stomach twist. And he's dragging that bag. It scrapes across the ground, leaving a long trench behind it. Something inside the bag bangs against the canvas, hard enough to shake it. He points at me, just one massive, gloved finger. My grandma screams my name, but Mr. Hartman tightens his grip on my wrist, pulling me backward. Don't you dare stop, boy, run. The gift-bringer takes one step forward. The ground shakes. His other corrupted Santas snap toward us, joints cracking loud enough to echo through the whole square. They lurch forward like puppets yanked by strings. Gunshots ring out as the remaining townspeople fire, but the bullets barely slow the creatures down. One Santa lets out a gurgling laugh as half its skull gets blown off, then keeps walking like nothing happened. An elf lands on Mrs. Thompson from the bakery, claws plunging straight through her back. Blood sprays across the snow in hot arcs. Her scream cuts off as the elf bites into her neck like it's carving a Christmas ham. The gift-bringer's sack suddenly bursts open, and something crawls out. At first, I think it's a person. Then it stands. Its limbs are twisted backward. Its eyes are gone, replaced with two swirling red lights, flickering like dying Christmas bulbs. Its mouth stretches wide, too wide, tearing at the corners. And then I notice the worst part. It's wearing my jacket from last winter. Grandma grabs me, pulling me behind her, voice shaking so hard she barely gets the words out. That's what happens when they get someone like you. My stomach drops. The thing in my jacket turns toward me, head twitching, mouth opening with a horrible wet snap. It screams. Not a human sound. Not even animal. It's like a whole choir of children screaming at once. Layered, reversed, and played through broken speakers. And it charges. Mr. Hartman fires at it point blank. 3 shots. 4. It doesn't flinch. It leaps straight at me, and Grandma shoves me out of the way. She slams into the creature, both of them falling into the snow. It bites into her shoulder, ripping a chunk out, blood splattering across the white ground. I scream. She doesn't. She only looks up at me and says, "Run, Don. They're not taking you." The gift-bringer is getting closer, each step shaking the street. His shadow falls over us. I grab a broken fence post from the ground and swing as hard as I can at the creature wearing my jacket. The wood cracks against its skull, snapping bones. It screeches and lunges again. Then a townsman runs in with a hatchet, slamming it into the creature's spine. The thing collapses, writhing, glowing eyes dimming. Others rush in with torches, pitchforks, guns, anything. They form a circle around us. The townspeople aren't running anymore. They're fighting, all together. For me, for Grandma, for their home. But the gift-bringer, he doesn't stop walking. He lifts the bag again. The snow around him turns pitch black. And he whispers, "One more gift. Just one more." His gaze locks on me, and the entire town prepares for the final fight. The square goes dead silent for a moment. Only the wind moves, and even it feels scared. The gift-bringer stands at the center, towering over all of us, his massive shadow stretching across the blood-soaked snow. His bag twitches like something inside it is dying or trying to escape. The townspeople tighten their formation around me and Grandma. No one speaks. No one breathes. Then the gift-bringer smiles. His teeth look carved from ice and bone, jagged, mismatched, and dripping red. He raises one huge hand, and bells begin to echo from nowhere. Not the church bell. Not normal bells. These sound like they're ringing from inside my skull. Mr. Hartman fires first, screaming, "Light him up!" The entire town unloads. Guns, crossbows, Molotovs, axes. Everything hits the gift-bringer at once. He barely flinches. The corrupted Santa creatures rush forward in a swarm. One grabs a man by the throat and lifts him off the ground, crushing his windpipe with a single squeeze. Another Santa bends down and scoops a screaming woman into its bag. The canvas tightens instantly, and her outline presses against it before going still. The elves sweep across the square like piranhas. Fast, chittering, ripping into legs and arms, tearing people down into the snow and shredding them like wrapping paper. Blood paints the white ground red. A man next to me is split open from his shoulder down to his waist, organs spilling into the snow like ruined gifts. Someone behind me gets their face torn off in one swipe. A kid no older than 12 is dragged away by elves, kicking, screaming, leaving a bright trail in the snow. I swing the broken fence post, smashing an elf in the face. Its nose caves in, but it still bites at my arm, teeth gnashing inches from me. A woman drives a carving knife into its skull and yanks me backward. Stay with us, Don. Grandma is bleeding badly, but she's still standing. She grips my shirt with a trembling hand. Don, there's something you need to know. A corrupted Santa slams into us, sending Grandma flying into a pile of broken wood. I scream and run to her, slipping on the blood-slick snow. She's barely conscious. Her hand reaches for me. They wanted you, because if they break me, the barrier. Before she can finish, the gift-bringer's hand wraps around my torso. I'm lifted off the ground like I weigh nothing. My ribs creak. My lungs compress. My legs kick helplessly in the air. His breath smells like old candy canes rotting in a grave. He brings me closer to his cracked, smiling face. The final gift for a dying town. Below him, the townspeople charge, stabbing, shooting, tearing at his legs. He ignores them. He opens his bag. Inside, I see faces. Hundreds of screaming, distorted faces pressed against the inner fabric, stretching it, begging to be let out or put down. Their mouths move but no sound comes out, just muffled static. Grandma drags herself up, blood pouring from her shoulder, and screams my name with everything she has left. The gift-bringer lowers me toward the bag. The fabric peels open wider. 1,000 hands claw out from inside, trying to pull me in. And then, a deafening sound breaks the night. Boom! Someone lit the entire square on fire. Molotovs, dozens of them, hit the gift-bringer's legs and chest at once. Flames erupt up his back, setting his coat blazing. His beard catches fire. His smile cracks. For the first time, he lets out a sound, a deep, guttural roar that shakes the buildings. He drops me. I hit the snow hard as he staggers backward, bag thrashing violently. Grandma crawls to me and throws her arms around me, sobbing. The townspeople don't stop. They run in again. Every man, woman, and surviving teenager. Axes swing. Torches stab. Guns unload. Everyone is screaming. For Don. For the town. For Grandma. Christmas lights explode overhead. Snow falls harder. The flames climb higher. The gift-bringer burns. But he's not dead. Not yet. He reaches into his own chest and pulls something out. A glowing red ornament. Cracked. Heartbeat inside it. He lifts it high, and the sky above us splits open. The sky splits open like tearing wrapping paper. A red crack rips across the clouds, glowing like a furnace. The air heats instantly. The snow around us melts into steaming slush. My skin prickles like it's being peeled off. The gift-bringer holds that cracked, pulsing ornament over his head and roars. A deep, animal sound that makes my bones vibrate. Grandma drags herself in front of me, shielding me with her whole body even though she's bleeding out. Don, don't look at the light. But I can't look away. The crack in the sky widens. Something huge moves behind it. Shadows, antlers, a shape too big for this world. The townspeople panic. Some run, some pray, some keep fighting because they know running won't matter. The gift-bringer drops the ornament. It shatters on the snow. A wave of red light erupts outward, blinding, burning, shattering windows, blowing apart storefronts. I feel it tear through me, but it doesn't kill me. It misses me, because Grandma throws her whole body over mine. The light hits her instead. She screams. Her back arches, her hands clawing at the ground. The skin on her arms cracks like dry wood, glowing red beneath the surface. Steam pours off her. She looks at me, eyes terrified, apologizing even now. I'm sorry, Don. And then she collapses. I scream so loud my throat tears. Grandma! I grab her, shaking her, begging her to breathe. She doesn't move. Snow melts around her, blood spreading beneath her head like a broken halo. The gift-bringer laughs. Deep, rumbling, sickening. He points at me again. The final gift is grief. Something in me snaps. Not in a chosen one way. Not in a magic way. Just a 15-year-old kid whose heart is ripped out. I grab a burning piece of timber. I don't care if I die. I don't care if the sky falls. I charge straight at the monster that killed her. And I'm not alone. The whole town charges with me. Mr. Hartman with an axe. 3 hunters with rifles. Kids with baseball bats and kitchen knives. Old men with pitchforks. Everyone. For Grandma. For each other. For the town. The gift-bringer swings his massive arm, sending 5 people flying. One hits a wall so hard the bricks crack. Another lands in the snow and doesn't move. Corrupted Santas crash into the crowd, tearing people open with their bare hands. Elves leap from roofs, biting into throats, ripping out chunks of flesh. Blood sprays across Christmas lights that won't stop flickering. Someone shoves a torch into a Santa's eye socket. It shrieks, melting, collapsing into the snow like rotten meat. Another Santa is torn apart by 3 men with chains and hooks. The townspeople are dying, but they don't stop. I get close enough to swing. I slam the burning timber into the gift-bringer's leg. Flames crawl up his coat. He roars and kicks me, sending me sliding across the snow. My ribs scream. I taste blood. But the flames spread. Hunters throw more Molotovs. A truck driver slams his burning pickup straight into the monster's back, pinning him against the old church. Fire engulfs his beard, his sack, his hat, his twisted face. He thrashes, clawing at his own burning flesh. A corrupted elf jumps at me, and I bash its skull in with a rock until it stops twitching. The gift-bringer collapses to his knees. The sky crack shrinks. Whatever was behind it retreats, screaming like a dying storm. The townspeople swarm him. Axes, fire, ropes, chains. The gift-bringer tries to stand, but his legs buckle. He falls face first into the burning snow, and the town tears him apart, piece by piece, until nothing is left but charred bones, melted cloth, and black snow hissing into steam. The sky seals shut. The bells stop. Silence. It's over. I crawl back to Grandma. The snow around her has refrozen, glittering with frost and blood. Her eyes are closed. Her face is soft, peaceful. I take her hand in mine. "I'm sorry," I whisper. "I'm so sorry." The surviving townspeople gather around us. No one speaks. Their faces are burned, bloody, exhausted, but alive. Mr. Hartman kneels beside me. "She saved the whole damn town, kid." I nod, tears freezing on my cheeks. Christmas lights flicker above us. For the first time tonight, they look gentle. I sit beside her until sunrise. Snow falls quietly over the ruins. The town survived. The monsters are gone. But Christmas in this place will never be the same. And neither will I.